We all have that one big dream, a goal that feels just out of reach. But what if the problem isn't a lack of talent or ambition? What if it's a lack of a clear, actionable system? What if the key to unlocking your greatest potential is a simple, integrated framework? Today, we're not just giving you a list of tips. We're breaking down the neurobiology, psychology, and practical science of sustained focus and goal achievement. Let's start with the most basic question of all. What is focus, and why is it so hard to maintain? Neuroscientists tell us that attention is a limited resource. Think of it as a spotlight. You can only shine it on a few things at a time, and it has a finite charge. Your brain's lateral prefrontal cortex acts like a traffic controller, directing your attention and helping you ignore distractions. A recent study found that when your brain has a burst of neural activity, what scientists call beta bursts, just before a task, you're far more likely to stay focused. This suggests that focusing is a cognitively demanding process that requires a great deal of energy and can be improved with deliberate effort. And what about motivation? That's largely driven by a neurotransmitter called dopamine. It's the common currency of our brain's reward system, and it gets released with every small step you take toward a goal, creating a self-reinforcing loop that keeps you going. The takeaway: you don't need endless willpower. You need to be a strategic steward of your limited focus. Now that we understand the hardware, let's talk about the software. The psychological frameworks that make our dreams tangible. You've probably heard of SMART goals, but let's look at why they actually work. Specific. A clear goal provides your brain with a GPS system to follow. Instead of "I want to get in shape," a specific goal is "I will run a 5,000 in 6 months." Measurable. Quantifiable goals like run a 5,000 trigger your brain's reward system with every bit of progress, releasing dopamine and keeping you motivated. Achievable. The goal must be challenging enough to excite your brain, but not so hard that it causes overwhelm and stress. Relevant. Your goal needs to align with your values and purpose. This activates the emotional centers of your brain, strengthening your commitment. Time-bound. Deadlines create a sense of urgency, forcing your brain to prioritize and get to work. But here is the secret to long-term success. The purpose behind the goal matters more than the goal itself. That's where achievement goal theory comes in. It distinguishes between two types of goals: mastery goals focused on developing competence for its own sake, and performance goals, which are about outperforming others. Research shows that mastery goals are linked to deeper learning and greater resilience, while performance goals can lead to burnout and a preference for easy tasks. So, when you're setting your goals, ask yourself, is this about personal growth, or just proving something to someone else? Goals give us direction, but habits are what make progress automatic. This is all about the habit loop, a 4-step process our brain uses to automate behavior. Cue. A trigger, like the time of day or a location. Craving. The motivation or desire for a reward. Response. The habit itself, like grabbing a cup of coffee. Reward. The satisfaction that reinforces the loop and makes you want to do it again. You can hack this loop to build good habits using James Clear's 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious. Put your workout clothes out the night before, or use habit stacking. After I finish my dinner, I will wash the dishes. Make it attractive. Pair a task you need to do with something you want to do. For instance only, listen to your favorite podcast while you're on the treadmill. Make it easy. Reduce the friction of the task. The 2-minute rule says, if you can do a task in 2 minutes or less, do it now. Make it satisfying. An immediate reward is critical. Use a habit tracker to visually celebrate your progress, or give yourself a small treat after a focused work session. The true purpose of discipline is not to rely on willpower, which is a finite resource. It's to build systems and habits that make success automatic, freeing up your cognitive energy for what truly matters. You can have the best mindset and habits in the world, but if your body is compromised, your brain can't perform at its peak. This brings us to the 3 non-negotiable pillars of foundational health. Sleep. It's the master regulator of cognitive function. While you sleep, your brain consolidates memories, processes information, and clears out waste. A single night of poor sleep can lead to a noticeable decline in attention and judgment, with effects similar to being drunk. Nutrition. The brain is an energy-intensive organ, and it requires the right fuel. Omega-3 South, found in fish and nuts, are essential for building and repairing brain cells. Antioxidants from berries and leafy greens protect against inflammation, and a balanced breakfast can improve short-term memory and attention. Physical exercise. Regular movement triggers the release of neurotransmitters that improve emotional regulation and mood. It also increases blood flow to the brain, which improves focus and promotes neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and rewire itself. Even with a perfect system, internal battles can derail your progress. The most common psychological barrier is self-doubt, which often manifests as imposter syndrome. It's the feeling of being a fraud despite evidence of success, and studies show that up to 70% of professionals have experienced it. The antidote: cultivate a growth mindset, the belief that your abilities can be developed through hard work. This reframes failure not as proof of inadequacy, but as a necessary learning opportunity. Another common barrier is procrastination. We often think it's a symptom of laziness, but it's actually an emotional regulation strategy to avoid difficult feelings like the fear of failure. You can combat this with simple techniques like the Swiss cheese method, breaking a large task into tiny, non-threatening holes, or the 2-minute rule. The key is to address the emotional root of the behavior, not just the behavior itself. Now, let's put it all together into practical, actionable strategies. Craft your environment. Your workspace is critical. Minimize distractions by muting notifications, putting your phone in another room, and sitting with your back to a window. Use a not-to-do list to codify all the distractions you're committed to avoiding. Master time management. Use techniques like the Pomodoro technique, focused 25-minute work blocks with short breaks, and time batching, where you group similar tasks together. Cultivate flow state, the ultimate state of peak performance. Flow happens when a task is just challenging enough to be engaging. You have a clear goal, and you get immediate feedback. This state down-regulates the part of your brain that handles mind-wandering and rumination, allowing for deep concentration. To get into flow, define your most important task. Prepare your environment, and use your breaks for active recovery, like a short walk, not mindless scrolling. The journey to your dream isn't a single leap of faith. It's an integrated system of small, intentional, and scientifically backed steps. By building a robust foundation of health, adopting powerful psychological frameworks, and engineering your habits and environment for success, you're not just hoping to achieve your dreams, you're making an inevitable outcome. Start today. Make a commitment to yourself, not to a result, but to the process. Because when you master the process, the rest will follow.